The world held its breath during the Alaska summit, hoping talks between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin could de-escalate global tensions. But those hopes were dashed. Many observers labeled the summit a catastrophic failure, a missed opportunity to pull back from the brink. But what if the alternative wasn't failed negotiation? What if instead of talking, America launched a full-scale military assault on Russia today? Behind the staged handshakes in Alaska, the reality was grim. No new arms treaty, no ceasefire for Ukraine. For Putin, it was a public relations victory, projecting Russia as an equal power. For Trump, critics called it a show of weakness, a sign he was outmaneuvered. The summit ended not with a path to peace, but with a palpable sense of dread. The diplomatic channels had failed, leaving only more dangerous options on the table. Now imagine the unthinkable. Instead of talks, America launches a surprise attack. The first wave would be overwhelming. Stealth bombers and cruise missiles targeting Russian command centers and air defenses. A massive cyber attack would attempt to cripple their infrastructure. But Russia's response would be instant and brutal. Retaliatory missile strikes would hammer NATO bases across Europe. Within hours, Ukraine, Poland, and the Black Sea would become raging battlefields. As the full might of the Russian military is unleashed, the world would be forced to choose sides. On America's side, the full force of NATO, the EU, and most Western democracies bound by treaty. On Russia's side, a coalition of convenience. North Korea and Iran would likely seize the opportunity to challenge their common enemy. The ultimate wildcard remains China. Would Beijing risk economic ruin to back its Russian partner, or watch from the sidelines waiting to reshape a world in chaos? The lines would be drawn for a new world war. The United States and Russia possess over 90% of the world's nuclear weapons. A so-called limited exchange wouldn't just be a few explosions, it would be a series of city-ending firestorms, instantly vaporizing millions. The initial blasts would cast a radioactive pall over entire continents, marking only the beginning of the horror. The secondary effects would be even more devastating. Soot blasted into the stratosphere would block out the sun, plunging the planet into a nuclear winter. Global temperatures would plummet, agriculture would collapse, and supply chains would disintegrate. Billions would face starvation, a scenario from which humanity might never recover. This is why diplomacy, even when it appears to fail, is so critical. The Alaska summit was tense with public rebukes and no grand bargain, but it kept communication open, pulling both sides back from the brink. In nuclear geopolitics, not losing is a victory. No peace deal, but no nuclear war either. So next time the calls for decisive action grow loud, remember this. The true test of leadership isn't always about demonstrating strength through force. Sometimes the hardest choice is to absorb the pressure and choose the painstaking path of dialogue over the catastrophic finality.